Thank you for joining us for this edition of David's Question of the Week, presented by NM Fiber Network. As New Mexico's statewide middle mile backbone, we're committed to keeping you informed about the technologies, opportunities, and challenges shaping connectivity. Here's this week's question.
The value that NM Fiber Network brings to the community, if you're talking to other providers, other folks in the industry, they can easily see that. But when we talk about it to community members, policymakers, like we did at the Broadband Summit not too long ago, the challenge there is to make believers. You want people to understand that what we're doing here matters and to show them in which ways it matters. And I go on at length to talk about the changes that are coming because of NM Fiber Network and because of the middle mile network that we're putting in New Mexico. I like to point out the fact that state networks are not a new idea. They've been around for a decade or more. And the benefit of NM Fiber Network is we get to enjoy the lessons that were learned by our sister states and brother states. We get to see those lessons that are learned and maybe try to go with that and build a better state network. And at the end of the day, policymakers and folks that are making the decisions in regards to how New Mexico is going to move forward in the next year and the next decade are aware that other states have had this type of infrastructure put in place, and they have seen the benefit that has come from that. So it's not so much as the challenge of having to re-explain what a state network does as it is to have them believe that what we're doing in New Mexico is going to benefit New Mexicans. And that challenge, I think, can best be addressed by allowing them to see and believe in what it is that we're doing. And what we're doing is we're not just bringing connections to people, we're bringing technology and access to that type of technology and opportunity, not just to our communities, but to our businesses and to our anchor institutions. And I think that right there is the key point. And that key point is only addressable if you think of, well, what actually are you giving these people that are giving them that advantage? And to be able to answer that, we need to be able to understand, well, what is coming in the next 10 years? What is coming in the next 5 years? And the answer to that is artificial intelligence, is AI. You've seen all the money that's been pumped into AI. You've seen all the hype. You've seen the detractors, and you've seen the people that hype up AI. The truth of the matter is as a technology, it is something that will reshape our environment in as much a way as the internet did back in the 80s and 90s to business. It'll do the same thing. AI will do that in our day and age to business and to the way that we live, to the way that we learn, to the way that we take in entertainment. The changes that are coming because of that are huge. So it's not a question of what is NM Fiber Network going to do for our state. The actual question that we should be asking is, how will that benefit our state and at what degree? And the answer to that is you got to look a little bit to the future. NM Fiber Network is preparing New Mexico for the future by allowing it and affording it the opportunity to create these infrastructure support structures that will help accelerate our strategy as a nation in regards to artificial intelligence and the stuff that it's going to do. So truly, it's not a question of should we proceed with AI or should we stop or should we throw up guardrails or even obstacles against that. The question is, do we need and do we want to be prepared for the way the world is moving? And it's moving in a way that's very, very AI centric. And make no mistake about it, NM Fiber Network through its middle mile network is in full support of that and is actually the one that's facilitating that as well. Should I support middle mile networks in New Mexico? The answer is yes. The reason why? Because we're supporting the direction that this nation is moving, at least at the level of AI, amongst so many other things. So AI would be the example, that I would use and that I did use at the Broadband Summit when explaining to our policymakers, how NM Fiber Network should have their support and should have their full-throated support and their help in making it happen.
Connection fuels opportunity, and at NM Fiber Network, we're building the backbone that makes that possible. Thanks for joining us for David's Question of the Week. Till next time, stay connected, stay curious, and for more information, go now to nmfibernetwork.com.